Welcome to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine. We're here to help you get through the catastrophes that could kill you.
Avalanches, bear attacks, knife fights.
And the stuff that really keeps you up at night.
Texting mishaps.
Sexting mishaps.
Being catfished.
I'm really worried about getting osteoporosis.
Me too.
My bones are like chalk.
I'm getting you a glass of milk right now.
Should we just play the song?
Yeah, okay.
Ground is shaking under our feet. Mountains on fire, flooding in the street. Can't breathe the air, can't fight the feeling. Gobbling down Xanax ain't the way to be dealing. Gotta do better than just getting high. We gotta stick together if we're gonna survive. Ooh, how to survive. Ooh, how to survive.
Hello and welcome to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine.
Hi, everybody.
Chris, how are you?
You know what? I'm hanging in there.
Are you?
Yeah.
It's been a lot.
It's been a week.
So we're going to find out not how to survive your week.
No. I'm
Because
still...
we don't have the time for that.
Oh, we don't. And you know what? I don't know if I will. So...
Oh, sadness. But hilarity also. Today, it's not night.
It's not yet.
It's not really even afternoon. It's morning still.
Yep.
We're going to learn how to survive a blackout.
I can't wait because I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's not the drunk blackout. It's the blackout when you lose electricity.
Have you ever had a drunk blackout?
No. I mean, I don't actually even know what that is. Is a blackout a blackout is like when you do things that you don't remember.
I think
but
it's-
you're conscious.
I think it's, you get so drunk that you do things, you hurt people maybe,
Yeah.
not maybe emotionally or physically.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I just had sex with your best friend.
Right.
But I did? I don't remember that. Almost sounds
Have
like
you had that?
No.
You haven't had a blackout?
No. I think I just have gotten drunk that so much that I threw up.
But we're going to talk about the other kinds of blackout where you lose all electricity. And here's the interesting thing. There's so many different ways that blackouts can happen. Before I tell you how to survive a blackout, I'm going to give you a couple of instances of blackouts.
I can't wait.
That made news and are history making.
Dun, dun, dun.
For instance, this is a famous one, the New York City blackout of 1977, which was caused by a lightning strike
Ooh.
on a substation by the Hudson River. I know what some of those words mean.
I know 1977.
I don't know what a substation is.
Because I think that was like a bicentennial year.
Well, 76.
Okay, well, it was really close to a year.
It was bicentennial plus one. You've heard of 1776, right?
You listen.
At least the musical
I went
is
to
not.
public school, and I'm a little shady on the specifics.
It tripped two circuit breakers, which diverted the power in order to protect the circuit. This caused 340,000 volts of electricity.
Ooh.
That sounds a lot.
It sounds like
right?
it sounds like it could create a superhero. It sounds like you're. It sounds like you're prepping us for the creation of the
Sounds like a Marvel
greatest
character. Yeah, I wish it were. So it caused 340,000 volts of electricity to convert to a lower voltage for commercial use. A combination of a loose locking nut
Oh yeah, I know about those.
and slow upgrade cycle. There's medicine for that now. Stop the breaker from closing and allowing power to flow again.
I'm supposed to say "whoo" right now. I think like "whoo," like "phew."
Yes. But then a second and third lightning strike
Uh-oh.
caused even more problems. Almost an hour after the initial tripped breakers, New York's largest power generator went down. The reason why this is such a famous blackout was because New York City was already on the verge of like a lot of political and emotional sort of turmoil at this time.
Imagine it. I mean, there's serial killers everywhere.
That's exactly right. Son of Sam.
Right?
Had been Roman.
Did you just say had been Roman?
Had been Roman.
Roman around the streets?
Yeah, Roamin apostrophe.
I love that you just said that.
Well, his dog told him to. Oh no, the dog was Son of Sam. Whatever. In any case, yesterday I lost the word apostrophe in my head.
Oh, that
I couldn't come up with the word apostrophe, and because in my head I was doing that thing where I was critiquing people who don't exist, who don't use apostrophes correctly, because it absolutely drives me insane. Because all you have to do is when you write when you write it's, you
Yes.
say it is. And does it is make sense?
Yes, it's like your and your. Yes.
And it doesn't make sense. So I was having an argument with
invisible people.
With invisible people,
Oh,
and then I lost the word apostrophe, and it was really scary.
You also lost that argument.
I did. Okay, so Son of Sam.
This is the greatest night in New York City's history. I'm just imagining, like, it's like
But people went bananas.
it's like,
yeah.
I mean, could you imagine living in New York and looking out your window?
And it's black.
It's like, but also the lightning.
Well, the lightning.
How exciting would that be? You know,
So-
you're just lighting up the serial killers running around. Roman.
Right, Roman.
They're Roman.
Yeah.
You can see him when
He
the
was folksy.
He was strumming his piccolo. Wait, do you strum?
What?
Did you strum a piccolo?
It's a wind instrument. In fact, I think it was probably popular in 1976.
Wait, am I getting a lot of things wrong?
Apparently. At least you know what an apostrophe is.
You know what I was thinking though? What's the little mini guitar?
A lyre?
No.
Lyre? I never know if it's
The
lyre or
little
lyre.
mini guitar that a lot of people that
Mandolin.
are hipsters like to play. Thank you. I was thinking ukulele, but I
okay.
said piccolo. But doesn't piccolo sound like you would strum it? To anyone?
I mean, I know what a piccolo is, so no. Steve
All
Martin
right.
plays the banjo.
Let me
right?
know, anyone, if I...
Okay, so it was sweltering hot,
Yep.
failing economy, Son of Sam.
Everyone's wearing white tank tops.
Are you saying that because I'm wearing a white tank top right
you're
now?
really wearing
I'm
it
wearing,
that well.
am I allowed to say dago tee anymore? I'm wearing a dago tee.
Well, I always think of it as a wife beater.
Wife beater. They're both offensive. So.
They're both wrong.
Yeah.
That's why I said
Right.
white tank top.
Yeah, no, I am wearing a wife beater.
But I also think people do say those things, and
Yeah.
we shouldn't, right?
No, but I think the person who taught me dago tee is half Italian.
I don't know that one. Is that...
Well, because dago is like a slur for Italian.
Yes.
So it's like, So I probably shouldn't be saying it over and over again. But
the more you say it, the less offensive it gets. Is that how it works with things you're not supposed to say?
I think it's more offensive than Chris Pratt being cast as Mario in the new.
He is?
It's a cartoon, but yes, and people are outraged.
Is it because he's white? And
because he's not Italian.
Yeah, I mean,
and because he's famous and white. I mean,
is it because he's like an anti-vaxxer who
he
goes
is
to
a
that
weirdo
weird
Christian,
church?
cult guy? But I don't think that's the problem. I think it's that he's not Italian.
He might not be an anti-vaxxer. I don't know that.
I mean, chances are. I don't know. You're right. That's not fair.
Our babies were in the hospital at the same time. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were all in the NICU together. Yeah.
So here's the weird thing, though. It wasn't all bad news, believe it or not. Legend has it, because there was a lot of looting.
Yes.
In
Roman and Luton.
Roman and Luton.
Don't forget the apostrophes, folks.
You can imagine with all the unrest, and it's sweltering summer day, and now
Yes.
no one has air conditioning, and
anger.
It's a nightmare. There was a lot of looting. Legend has it that the stealing of DJ equipment
I was not expecting you to say that.
from hi-fi stores, I don't know that they really call them that, propelled DJ culture and hip-hop music in the city.
Really?
That is what I read.
That's
Now,
a really fun...
and that would be awesome, and it would be a great
piece of trivia.
I mean, they've done...
Why can't they make this a movie?
Well, I was going to say they have done movies on Son of Sam. I don't know if they've done a movie on...
I want to see a movie
Yeah.
where the storm is the opening scene.
Yes.
That propels DJ hip-hop culture.
Yes. And remember you wanted it to be a superhero thing?
Yeah.
So someone could get...
Superhero powers.
Superheroed. They could get lightninged
DJ'd.
DJ powers.
Lightning DJ.
Yeah, they can
I mean...
like
Oh, that's how they solve crimes?
Well, I didn't think of... But yeah. But electricity goes through their fingers
Into the record.
and makes
That
them
they
able to scratch.
wicka.
Yes.
Wait, are we going to make this?
Yes.
You know, we should probably hook up with Spike Lee.
You can't do this as a low budget movie. So yeah, we need a big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need like a lot of...
Ooh, let's get Michael B. Jordan. Is he too old? Yeah, it has to be like a 18-year-old or something.
But he could be one of the stars.
Yeah, he could be the guy who's like, man, you can't do that with records. That's disrespectful.
Man, you can't do that. Let's... We've almost got this written.
We just need to map it out. I see something happening with his shoes too, like the electricity hitting his shoes. And there's like, I don't know what shoes were popular then. Reeboks?
Do they have wings on them?
Yes.
Those Nikes with wings. Is that a shoe?
I think you're thinking of of a sanitary napkin.
No, not those kind of wings.
They're not called sanitary napkins, are they?
Pads?
Pads, yeah.
What year are you in? You know, the ones with the clips that you put around your waist?
Right. Isn't that what they used to do?
Yes.
Was that our mother's era or an era before that?
Probably our moms. I think it was like fabric and they had clips.
Yeah, like
belts,
garters.
sanitary belts.
Sanitary belts,
God,
that's right.
It's always been terrible to be a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, is it getting less terrible? Not really. Maybe a little bit.
It's getting worse in some ways, but it's definitely markedly better in lots of ways.
Yeah, we have tampons.
So here's another crazy one.
Okay.
This was Canada's geomagnetic storm. This happened March 13th, 1989.
That's a day after my birthday.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. I don't remember it, though. I was probably too busy celebrating.
On March 13th, 1989, the entire province of Quebec, Canada suffered an electrical blackout lasting 12 hours. And it was all thanks to the sun.
Damn it. That's sun.
Sometimes the sun emits billion-ton clouds of ionized gas, known as coronal mass ejection.
Sometimes?
Yeah, just whenever it feels like it.
It has an ejection?
It has a what?
Did you say ejection?
Ejection, yeah.
Okay. Now I have to worry about the sun? Mm-hmm. I mean, I already am
you already worry
blocking
about,
up and covering myself with hats, but...
Just all over your body?
I'm always just covering.
You're like Bernadette Peters. On March 10th,
we have a lot in common.
1989.
We both play the piccolo.
She probably does. A coronal mass ejection about the size of 36 Earths and equivalent to the energy of thousands of nuclear bombs exploding at the same time escaped.
Uh-oh.
On the 12th, the gas cloud crashed against Earth's magnetosphere, whatever that is, and caused the northern lights to be seen as far south as Texas and Cuba, affecting because of the celestial event, 6 million Quebecois residents were that's my favorite word, were thrust into darkness when they have provinces there. Provinces' power grid lost power. Schools and businesses were forced to close during the 12-hour blackout, as well as the Montreal Metro and the Dorval Airport. But I just thought that was crazy that it could be caused by
the sun.
The sun. It's like...
I'm also just trying to picture it's like the sun just having a zit that pops. Like, is it just like shooting?
Yeah, I don't really...
It's like the sun gets all...
Right.
Like, oh, I gotta get rid of some of this.
And then I'm going to cause a blackout in Quebec.
Well...
Yeah. It's like a Little Shop of Horrors. I mean, it wasn't a total eclipse of the sun, but it was something. All right, I'm not going to go over all of these because you get the idea. But I will say that Hurricane Sandy, because that's, we all are familiar with that one, in 2012 was a massive hurricane that impacted 24 states.
Wow.
New York was the hardest hit with flooding streets and subway line closures. Some people even had to go without power for 2 weeks.
Imagine that.
And I did I read a little story about... That sounds quaint, and it's not quaint at all. But I read a story about a city in Louisiana affected by Ida that we just had.
Yeah.
And because it wasn't a major city like New Orleans, they went without power for 3 weeks in some areas. And it was just crazy. People had, it's just things I haven't had to go through. So I didn't realize like all the different ways it affects your life.
Yeah.
It's so costly because you have to buy a generator. Mm-hmm. You have to cook all the food in your refrigerator before it goes bad.
Yeah.
So they would have like cookouts in this neighborhood.
Because you can't cook on your stove.
You can't cook on your stove.
Yeah. And also, I mean, just considering with a hurricane like Ida, when I was listening to NPR, because I'm a big dorky nerd.
Right.
A lot of those people's homes are also completely soaked.
Yeah.
So their carpets are molding,
right.
Their beds are wet, but they also don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, you're sleeping in your carport.
So you're just like in a moldy situation. Oh, and it's 100 degrees.
Yeah.
And you don't have any air conditioning.
Right.
But it's too hot outside. Like it's just this. Oh, by the way, the hardest hit are people who are poor.
Yes.
Because they don't, it's not like they're like, oh, well, I'll just go stay at my sister's house who has a 4-bedroom place with air conditioning over in Texas.
So
and she's going to fly us over. Like they don't have the support system. Like, many of us are lucky enough and privileged enough to rely on.
That's why I found the article so interesting because it was just like again, things I don't think of, like, oh yeah, they have to go get gas, but none of the gas stations have gas. But if they want to get anywhere, they need gas for their car. So one of the neighbors would go around and spend all day driving, obviously using gas, but he would spend all day driving around finding any gas station that had any gas, bring it back to give to his neighbors.
What a nice guy.
He was really nice. It was a really lovely story, and not to sound too Pollyanna, but like it was this sort of mixed neighborhood of white and black people, and they were all helping each other. It was very sweet. And okay, but I'm going to help you because now I'm going to tell you how to survive a power outage.
Good, because I don't want this to happen. I really, you know what? I don't want it to happen to anyone because I'm feeling really bad for all of these people now.
No, and I know, and I'm sorry that I kind of brought the room down, but
no, I know you're going to bring us up.
It is sort of a nice, story of how people come together and help each other as well.
I agree. Oh, what about this?
Yes.
We changed the year to 76 and tie in the bicentennial, and the picture on the movie poster is the coin from the bicentennial. Ooh, people love coins.
And
as movie posters.
And 76. Okay, so we're probably dealing with gas shortages anyway.
Yep.
Is that 76 or maybe a little later?
No, I think 76. Okay. Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter and all. Yeah. Okay, I think this movie writes itself.
This is
better because we're not writing it.
No. We're just pitching it for someone else to...
Yeah, we're just a think tank.
Yeah, we are a think tank.
Okay, how to survive a prolonged power outage or blackout.
Ready.
Approach appliances with caution.
Whoa. I'm going to introduce myself. These are my pronouns.
Use your full name. Raise your hands.
Yeah.
Show your oven you have nothing in your hands. You're not reaching for a gun.
Look, nope.
You're just okay. Use gas to cook. So you can use gas.
Gas will be on.
If it is on. It might not be on. Okay. So write important information on paper. During an outage, your cell phone is your lifeline, and you'll likely want to keep it charged in case of an emergency. This kind of goes back to the other thing we were talking about know people's phone numbers by heart, because, because you can't depend on your phone indefinitely, write down phone numbers and addresses you might need, such as nearby hospital, a school that's providing supplies, a local library or storm shelter, or other public places that may have power. In fact, these are places where you can recharge your electronics and contact loved ones. They usually set up, if it's a big city.
Yes. Like a power station, essentially, where you're like, I can go there and recharge.
Or during Sandy, didn't they set up like was Sandy the one that also affected Louisiana? Where they all went to the dome,
the Superdome, when Bush's wife was like, "This doesn't look." She said that terrible thing.
What did she say?
Do you remember this?
No.
So all of these people are inside. I think the Superdome.
Yes.
That was the bad. It wasn't Sandy. It was the hurricane.
You're right. I'm sorry.
I'm getting her. Yeah.
Yeah.
The name of the hurricane is really obvious, and I just can't think of it because my brain is
I know.
mush.
Garen will look it up for us.
But she said, I think I'm right about this. This is a lot nicer than how a lot of these people were living before.
Jesus Christ.
Basically. It was along those, it's not verbatim, but it was along those lines. And I was like,
are there instances of like rape and stuff going on?
It was it was awful. I mean, people were just, it's in the Superdome. People were...
Katrina.
God,
right,
thank you. It was a horror show. I mean, it was... People didn't have enough food. There was not sanitation.
Yeah.
They were just laying on the ground.
Right.
And... there was, of course, the idea that this wouldn't be happening if these were white people.
Of course.
They would never allow it. It would never be the case.
Right.
Anyway, that's a fun anecdote.
Sometimes there are safe places you can go where you can do all those things. Conserve your phone's battery life by switching the phone to a power-saving setting, such as airplane mode, or an iPhone or economy mode on an iPhone, it's called airplane, and on an Android it's called economy. Poor Android users. They even their settings sound like shit. Economy.
It's
terrible. Economy is on an airplane.
It's weird to me when I hear that more people have Androids. Like that's the more popular.
Yeah.
Because
are they less expensive? Probably.
They must be less expensive.
And also, it's cool to say you have an Android in your pocket. I mean,
it is cool,
isn't it?
Yeah. And think about it that way.
Yeah. When you make your way to a local shelter or library, it's a smart idea to take a power strip So I thought that was really smart because that's something you might not think of. But if you grab, we probably all have one in a drawer or something. This way, when you do find power, you can charge multiple devices at once,
really
or
good tip.
share the makeshift charging station with others. So, I mean, you've already, that's 5 more you've got.
Have a power strip in your emergency backpack.
Oh, that's a good idea,
right? Because you're going to...
In homes that have lost power but suffered little other damage, you can safely cook on a gas stove. Sorry, I read that a little early. But you'll probably need to light the burner with a match or lighter because the electronic ignition on a stove won't work.
Okay.
If the power is off and you have a gas... Sorry, my papers are all out of order. I feel like Evan Hansen. There's a scene where his...
I have not seen Evan Hansen.
You don't need to. It's okay.
Is it the movie version with Ben Platt?
Yeah. I found my place, by the way. So, if you have a gas grill, cooking with it is another option. Or if you, I don't know, never, you know what, fuck that sentence. If you were able to properly store your grill before the storm in a dry space, such as a garage, and notice no water damage to the grill or gas tank, it should be safe to use it to grill food. Oh, they're just talking about like an outdoor grill.
Oh.
Food in your refrigerator can maintain, this is important. Food in your refrigerator can maintain a safe temperature below 40 degrees Fahrenheit for about 4 hours on average. Cook any perishables within this time period. Otherwise, toss these items.
So you have 4 hours to cook your food.
Yes. In fact, we had a blackout for a while. And of course, like I think it was last summer. And of course, you never know how long it's going to last. So we were Googling all this information. Even after that 4 hour window, food can spend an additional 2 hours above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 degrees Fahrenheit before it becomes unsafe to cook. A full freezer should stay cold for about 48 hours after the power is lost. A half full freezer, should stay cold about 24 hours. So it depends on how full your freezer is.
Packed.
Mine's totally packed, so it's going to last 48 hours.
I like food that can be put in the microwave.
I am huge on Trader Joe's for dinner.
Me too.
Anything that you can cook but don't eat, you'll need to throw out after 2 hours because you'll have no way to keep it cool enough to prevent it from spoiling. You can always share with neighbors, which is what those people did in the neighborhood. Good to know. Lots of homeowners' insurance policies will cover the replacement cost of spoiled food.
Okay, well, I can't wait to fill out those forms.
I know. So,
you know what I mean? Like,
good point.
I think I'll just take that loss.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. If your house is flooded, always toss any food that may have come into contact with floodwaters. I think that's pretty much,
Yeah, that's a given.
If your grapes have been met with
water. If your house is that flooded, you might have bigger issues going on.
Yeah, you're probably not going to think about snack time.
Yeah, you're like, hey, my baby's floating away. I think I need to run after my toddler,
like Moses.
Yes, my baby Moses.
Running a generator improperly can kill you in as little as 5 minutes if the concentration of carbon monoxide is high enough.
Great.
And it happens.
Great.
An average of 60 to 70 people a year die from generator-associated carbon monoxide poisoning. So,
I just saw this the other day on an episode of The Great North. Do you know this show? It's the
animated show?
Yeah, it's from
my friend Kevin Sesha writes on
Okay, so it's this woman gets lost in the snow and she finds a warehouse, and inside the warehouse there's a generator, and she takes it outside before she turns it on. And I was like, oh, that must be for safety.
Yes, that's exactly right. Carbon monoxide is colorless, odorless gas, so you won't even know you're inhaling it. No matter what, resist the urge to move a portable generator inside the house or garage. So yeah, keep it outside.
That kind of stuff always worries me. It's almost like I'd rather not have a generator. Because I'm just like, I'm going to do it wrong and I'm going to kill all of us.
Well, if you do it outside, you won't kill.
All right, fine. I'll get 2 generators.
What do you mean? One generator to work the other generator?
Just in case the first one fails.
Oh, okay.
Just have 2. Backup.
Operate a generator as far from the house as possible. Consumer Reports recommends at least 20 feet and direct the exhaust away from the doors or windows. If you don't have a transfer switch installed, you can run an outdoor rated extension cord of the appropriate gauge from the generator's outlets to individual appliances, provided cords are properly rated and follow certain precautions. Okay, I don't understand any of that, but I'm sure if you have a generator... Oh, here's what it tells you to do if you don't have a generator.
Okay.
Unplug your appliances. But first, approach them with caution.
Hey, so listen, my name's Chris.
Hey, guys.
My hands are up, but I am going to touch you.
Yeah. This is not an insult. I don't mean this negatively, but you're not working right now. So I'm going to have to, it's not going to hurt.
No, it's not a sexual touch.
I'm just going to.
This is just a.
You have slots and I have hands.
I have slots.
But
I'm not going to put any of my hands in your slots.
I'm just going to remove the cord.
Well, this is for your safety, too.
This includes anything with electrical circuitry, from your microwave to your refrigerator to your television. So that's smart to remember all those things.
Unplug all of it.
Yeah.
With caution. You know what would be good?
Yeah.
Wear an oven mitt, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So unplug everything.
In case there's a spark.
In case you get like a jolt.
Yeah. When power lines are damaged during storms, there can be a spike or surge in the line. Unplugging your appliances can prevent damage to those appliances from a power surge when the utility company restores power. This is a good one. Check on nearby neighbors. If your family and home are safe and sound, communicate with neighbors and family members to let them know. Check to see if elderly neighbors are able to navigate when lights aren't on, or if they might want or need your help.
Okay.
Maybe you can invite them over. Devise a system.
Let's back up a
maybe.
little. Let's back up. I'm game to check on them, but inviting them over is a little.
It's a lot.
It's kind of.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry, we invite you over, but all our appliances are unplugged and our food's about to spoil. So,
and it makes their slots feel weird.
Yeah,
it makes my slots feel weird.
Devise a system to update everyone if necessary. So I thought that was good.
That's good. Yeah.
Actually, when we had our blackout last summer,
was it from the heat? Like a rolling?
I guess it was from the heat, yeah.
Was it planned, like one of those rolling blackouts?
No, it wasn't
or was just
planned.
Like, surprise, blackout?
It was just in our neighborhood, and it was sort of like street by street. And it was during the thick of the quarantine. So it was kind of like, okay, we can't go anywhere.
Extra surprise.
So we have to stay here. It wasn't dangerous or anything. It was just like, what do we do? So we did talk to our neighbors.
Did you invite them over?
No, because we didn't have anything better or different than they had.
It was COVID times, too.
Yeah, exactly. So
you're like,
we wouldn't have.
Sorry we didn't invite you in, but you might have a deadly virus.
That's right. Devise a system to update everyone if necessary. If there seems to be no end in sight to the power outage, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, also known as FEMA, recommends seeking out an alternate location with power and heating or cooling. Oh, thanks. Assuming you're able to drive safely on the roads. Take your go bag.
Yes.
Or medical go bag and any other supplies you might need, which we now know includes a power strip.
Yeah.
Let your neighbors and family know where you plan to go. So that's smart. This is like things you might not think of. Like, I should probably tell people that I'm going to Aunt Sally's.
Yes.
And, but you're right.
In Vermont.
Not everyone has that option.
No, a lot of people don't have an Aunt Sally in Vermont. I mean, I don't.
I don't have an aunt.
You don't have an aunt at all?
My mom is an only child. Mm-hmm. My dad had a sister who was much older than him. Mm-hmm. So she is gone, but she's never really an aunt because she was so much older.
Okay.
And then my dad's brother, who has also passed on and was divorced, she's my aunt.
Okay.
She is my aunt by marriage. So yes, I have an Aunt Murray.
Okay.
But she doesn't live in Vermont.
Oh, do you think she might consider it? Okay.
Too old to move at this point.
Yeah. I'm like flush with aunts.
Okay.
So if you need one, I'm
yeah.
happy to pass one to you or share.
I come from a long line of dead people, Chris, so I don't really have a lot of relatives.
Okay. Well, I have a lot, but I'm not sure how you'd feel about them.
They might be a little out of my comfort zone.
Maybe. They're often out of my comfort zone. So,
sure.
You know, we can talk later off the podcast, and I'll pitch some aunts to you.
Okay.
And you can maybe just say, you know what, I'll take this
That'd
one.
be nice.
Okay, great.
That'd be really nice. So anyway, that is what to do in a blackout. And when we come back, we're going to talk about living in one's shadow.
I mean,
see the connection there?
I see it. I've learned a lot. I'm really excited about meeting our guest.
Yes.
And I'm also excited for the blackout I'm going to be in because now I know what to do.
Oh, okay. Maybe you can cause one. Just take a scissors to all your, wires.
Oh, I'm going to do that for sure.
For sure.
For sure. All right. Thanks,
All
Danielle.
right, we'll be
Can't
back.
wait to see you.
Yeah, bye.
Welcome back. You're listening to How to Survive with Danielle, and I'm Kristine. If you're just tuning in, this is a podcast about
They're
surviving.
Just tuning in?
I don't know.
They're
Maybe
start
they
the
just
podcast in the middle of the show.
Wait, this isn't live radio?
No. Oh, is that why you bought the horn?
Yeah,
I thought you were going to make like morning radio noises with a horn.
That's the horn and the piccolo in the corner. That's what those are for.
And what is a piccolo again, Chris?
It's not a wind instrument.
It is a wind instrument. Jesus. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Okay.
This next segment is about how to survive living in someone's shadow. And Danielle, do you want to bring our guest in?
Yes. I will just first of all say that I obviously have experience with this on many fronts. Yeah.
I can't even imagine that.
Well, my dad was a television actor. My brother was a television actor when I was in junior high.
Yeah, but you were in the craft.
I was an extra in the craft. Thank you very much.
You didn't have any lines?
No, I was whispering girl, meaning I had lines, but they were never on. You couldn't hear them on the screen.
Whispering girl sounds like a pivotal
That is
character.
my credit, though. And every October, I get about $4, so I'm not complaining. And my husband is a successful comedian and podcaster. So, yes, I understand what living in someone's shadow is. But someone who also knows what that's like is our guest, Jane Edith Wilson, who's one of my favorite people. Hi, Jane.
Feeling is mutual. Hi.
Jane is a very funny actress. You have seen her on Curb Your Enthusiasm and just about a million other things, commercials and television. And so, first of all, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
It's nice to see you. So, whose shadow have you been getting some shade in?
Well, when I was growing up, the shady person in my life when I was growing up. No, it's so funny because I love her. I mean, it's not like, I feel very, very lucky because I have a brother and I have a sister, and my older sister, Carrie.
Yes.
She's 18 months older than me.
Okay.
She was a genius. She is a genius.
Right.
She's very, very, very
A real genius.
A real genius.
She's a genius at a bunch of things.
Ew, bad, boo.
So it'd be one thing if she was just like science smart, which she was, and is. She has a doctorate in architecture from UMich. And
what does she do for a living now?
She's one of those people where she wanted to, she could go back and teach. She was teaching at UMich for a while. She's somebody who will travel the world delivering papers. She's that kind of person.
Oh, academic papers that she just
I
came
thought
up
you
with.
meant she had a really big paper route. like traveling the world delivering
that's what
papers.
it's come to.
I was like, she's that smart. She's
she
delivering.
throws them at people's doors. It's very strange.
On the back of a pickup truck.
So she's an academic?
She is.
Okay.
But she's also when she's not doing that, she might just be winning a major painting award.
Seriously?
Yeah, she's amazing.
What?
She's really amazing.
Okay, now I know your brother very well, and he's a sweetie pie.
Yeah, he's super smart too.
Yeah, and he's super smart too.
Yeah.
But you're also super smart. But you're saying she's an accomplished, in so many different ways.
And when we were children, I have ADHD, and in the 70s. There was no...
You were a spaz.
No.
Yeah, it was just
they put you
that's
in
what they called it.
That's
exactly,
where they put you in the special ed class.
That's exactly what they did to me.
And
absolutely.
You were there.
You really were in the special ed.
I was in, they called it remedial.
Yeah.
At the end of 4th grade, they gave me a test to see, in Milwaukee, this is where we were in school then, because we moved constantly, but we were in Milwaukee then, and at the end of 4th grade, they test you, and they see if you're going to go on this track called essay, which is special ability.
Okay.
Which, of course, Carrie, my sister, was on.
Yeah.
Of course, no problem. But I don't even remember really taking I remember my parents getting furious with me when the results came out. They were like, do you even remember taking that test? Chances are I spaced off and made a design on the paper. I could have done something like that because I hated taking any kind of test.
I was saying, how could they be mad at you for not doing well on the test? But you're saying...
I probably did do something stupid,
okay.
right? So then I found myself at the beginning of 5th grade in a classroom full of kids that could not write their names.
That were called special in a different way.
Yes.
And I
a
was
lot worse names, probably.
And in some ways it's weird because it shaped me. In some ways I still think of it as very positive. Because,
you're funny.
Well, yeah.
It's like that idea
Yeah.
of, did you have a happy childhood or are you funny?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And I figured out very quickly I could collect my homework at the beginning of the week, pretend I was sick on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then show back up with all my homework. And I almost didn't pass into 6th grade because of my attendance, but I had straight A's.
Wait a second. Your parents let you stay home 3 days a week every week?
This was I call it the abyss, where they had kind of just given up on me. They were just it's not like my mom paid attention to me. It was enjoy yourself up there in the sunroom watching television and make yourself meals, and I'm just done with you.
Are you serious?
I'm not joking.
It's so funny because you're just like this. Jane, in addition to being hysterical and a great actress, is also like the most competent person I know. She is constantly organizing for different causes and political things. So it's so funny to me that anyone would ever like, I wash my hands of Jane. Like,
Oh yeah, they were done with me.
It was also a different time, though. I mean, it's funny that you say that, Jane. I did something very similar in which I sort of I realized I could miss so much school but still get really good grades, and I would miss. Like, I was like, I can go to school 3 days a week and still get straight A's.
It sounds like you had your own life going on within the house.
Oh yeah, that's how I taught myself how to cook. I was a really good cook,
right?
And I taught myself how to cook, and I mean, she was like, and then I remember like the teacher, the 5th grade teacher, because if you were truly remedial, you'd figure out pretty quick that she wasn't a very nice teacher and that she was really kind of cruel. And she could see in my eyes that there was something more than me just being remedial. And she didn't care for me at all. She kept calling me a bad citizen. She was like, well, Jane's a bad citizen.
And teachers were mean back then.
Yeah. And then she told my parents I was a bad citizen.
And they're like, we've given up on Jane. We don't care.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, of course. Like I remember one time I got accused of, so crazy. It still rings in my memory. Accused of, she had this like book checkout thing, like her own little personal library.
Yeah.
And lots of them were comic books. And I remember I got accused of stealing this Miss Peach. Do you remember that comic Miss Peach? I got accused of stealing a Miss Peach book. And I was like, I swear to God, I didn't steal that book. And they tore my flipping room apart.
Oh
they
my God.
tore it apart, like you liar, you bad citizen, and everything. And I was like, what? When did
How are you a bad citizen? You can't even vote. Like, you're a child.
Yeah.
Now she's the best citizen, so it's ironic.
But yeah, I was
strange.
I really was. It's kind of a miracle. Like I waited until way into my teen years to become a drug addict and alcoholic. I should have been like that one in 5th grade.
I know, that's why it's funny. It's funny that they're like tearing your room apart for a comic book.
Oh yeah. And then it showed up. Suddenly it magically showed up. Some other kid brought it back and I was like, where's mine?
Some kid just checked it out for too long.
But seriously, they couldn't tell that you weren't supposed to be in that class?
They were like, well, you have to understand that there was years of me. There was something like I couldn't settle down. I was always in trouble.
You couldn't focus.
Because I was ADHD.
Yeah.
And my sister was a good citizen. And not only a good citizen, but she was
golden.
She was golden. Like she didn't just do good in her grades. Okay, like do you guys remember there was this literary magazine for children called Cricket Magazine?
Yeah. Doctor's Office kind of magazine.
Yeah. Oh, like highlights in that vein. Yeah.
Oh, but it's thick.
Yes,
right?
and deeper.
We had them.
Yeah.
We had them in our house. Yeah.
And it was for intellectual children,
Oh,
right?
it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Well,
were an intellectual child, Danielle.
Trust me, I remember the Mad magazine much better than the Cricket. Oh my God.
We weren't even allowed to get that. I had to wait for it to come to the school library. And
they let Mad magazine at the school library?
You'd have to get on a list for who got to read it.
Oh God!
I got to tell you,
Mad magazine was my life.
Me too.
I don't feel like I grew up spoiled, but the one thing I think that my mom did that was other people might find indulgent was my brother and I each got our own copy of Mad magazine so that we could do the fold-in.
The fold-in.
And that,
the
I think even at the time I was like, wow, that's really nice.
Cricket Magazine, Lloyd Alexander, who's a very famous children's author, had a short story that you could finish it, and whoever finished the short story, he judged it.
Oh,
would win the big prize.
Okay.
Did he write Lyle Lyle Crocodile?
I can't remember what he wrote.
Okay.
Because remember, I wasn't really into books, except for if they were joke books. So.
Yes. That just popped into my head. I could be totally wrong.
But they're making a movie of that, by the way.
They are?
Yeah.
I loved that book.
I did too. I mean,
except apparently I don't know who the author is.
I don't either, and I've read it to my son 25,000 times.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you Lloyd Alexander probably wrote books that were a little more
highbrow?
mystical and highbrow for children. Okay. So, Carrie won, of course. Lloyd Alexander flew into Milwaukee and took her out for lunch. Okay, that's the kind of shit that
and
was.
You're like, I'll just be here folding this back of this magazine.
I'll be sitting here reading jokes, and more jokes.
101 jokes,
puns, and more puns. Yeah, that was my thing. When we go to the library, I think I used to talk about this in my act about how we'd get to the checkout, and my mother would be like, "God damn it, Jane." She goes, jokes, and more jokes, puns, the hodgepodge book. What is wrong with you? Go get a real book. And then as I was going back, she'd go, and don't you get a horse book? Because that's
books bad?
Remember horse books?
No.
But because she knew I didn't even read them, I would just
look at
that
the
was my
horses.
joke. And I would look at the horse picture on the cover, this is my ex thinks this is the cutest and funniest thing ever because the horses are peeking in. They're like this. Horses, Stormy and Misty, they're like peeking in.
They're all sneaky.
That's like one of my proudest moments is when my children pick out a joke book.
I was going to say, yeah.
You're mine.
Yeah.
Oliver, in grade school, Oliver regularly checked out joke books from the library, from the school library. I had no problem with it. And we would read them. And then it became ironic. Like, we're reading them because they're so bad. Mm-hmm. They really were bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was up his alley and up your kid's alley too.
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. When this is happening in your family, this awful situation for you, how is your sister and how is your relationship? Is she must be aware that there's a differential, and is she kind to you? Do you guys have a good relationship? Is she
was a little ivory tower. I just have to say it because I was always in trouble. I would always getting up to shenanigans, always in trouble. You know, we could get spanked. My dad was one of those dads, you know. So
it's a different time period.
Yeah, and my especially me and my brother. I have a younger brother, and we were just up to hijinks all the time together.
You two and are very tight.
Yes,
right.
Okay.
And our thing was, you know, we did that thing when there's a 3-kid dynamic where we were like, "Did Carrie let you in her room?" Yeah, I'm getting to go into Carrie's room later. You know, like we were just like very competitive to be in Carrie's room.
Okay.
It was a special magical place that you get to go. And then at a certain point, we were like, F that, you know, we're going to get up to shenanigans. But my sister was embarrassed of me. She really was. And my parents did something that was kind of boneheaded. They like let her be embarrassed of me. Like at a certain point, They let
the competition exist.
Well, yeah. I mean, my sister was like, because I didn't just walk to school. I would like be jumping about, singing songs, telling jokes, you know, like losing my mind. And my sister was like,
so
"Can I walk across the street from her and pretend she's not my sister?" And my parents were like, "Yes, please, just go ahead, go right ahead."
Yeah.
And then when my brother got old enough to be walking with me, he would never abandon me.
Yeah.
And we'd just get up to hijinks together,
Sweetheart.
right?
What were these hijinks? I'm so curious.
Oh, you know, like, I think we went through a period where we were trying to get candy out of people. So we'd just show up at their doorstep and say, "Hey, well, look, we picked a flower for you. Do you have some candy hanging out?" You know,
that's like such cute kid stuff. I love it.
You're like a little rascal.
Yeah, we'd figure out where old people lived, and we're like, old people give us candy. You know what I mean? They were like, and then also, here's the weird, crazy thing. I'll get to that in a second. But because they retested me at the end of the year, and guess what they did? Put me in essay the next year.
What's essay?
Special ability. I went right past. I sailed right past.
See, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, at what point do they realize? And I understand it's a different time, and there weren't ADHD medicine, and there weren't diagnoses, and I get that. But at some point, they've got to notice you're not the kid who can't write your name. You're not that kid.
So here's the crazy thing that happened is you get marked in your family as being the family dummy. And it's like a culture in a family sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like I was just like, that's Jane. She's dummy. Oh, look at Jane reading a book.
Yes.
Like they go, oh, look at Jane.
Oh, look at her.
By the time
reading a book.
I hear one more goddamn knock joke.
Yeah. By the time I was in high school, I had turned it around and I was reading novel after novel. But my dad would like see me with the newspaper and go, look at little numbnut reading the newspaper.
Look at her.
Like,
You're doing her taxes.
I mean, my dad like jokes about me being stupid. I mean, we still have a giggle about it to this day, but like I had, this is going to sound so Dickensian. I had red measles when I was 5, and this is before they red measles.
What the fuck is red measles, Jane?
It's like a kind of measles you could get before they had vaccines. Get vaccinated. But and I almost died from it.
Oh my God.
But I kind of grew up in like, you know, like we don't go to hospitals or doctors in my family. I mean, like if you're sick, just get over it. You know, it was kind of the attitude.
It wasn't like a religious thing. It was
just like it was the late 60s and you're a pain in the butt. And, you know, my dad's a workaholic and all this stuff. So I remember losing a few days. I had such a high fever and they threw me into like a tub with ice in it. Anyway, and all this stuff. And then finally they did take me to the hospital. But for years afterwards, this is so Midwestern Gothic dark. When they would talk about me almost dying from red measles, my dad would point to me and go, cooked your brain. Cooked your brain. And I'd be like, no, I didn't. Like, I was like constantly like fighting against the idea of me being the dummy. Like, it's not like I signed on to it. I was like, that's not right.
But was he being funny?
Yeah. Well, but kind of funny, but also kind of like, that's
like,
the excuse, like, why she's so dumb, you know?
my God.
And
this all sounds very Midwestern.
so-
Yeah.
But Midwestern people are very funny in just a very kind of like dark, mean way.
Yeah.
I do think that. Yeah.
she had measles and cooked her brain. That's why she's dumb.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd be like right by his side going, no, it's not true. You know, like I never gave into it. I never went, I guess I'm dumb.
Good.
I was like,
Yeah.
no, it's not right. You know,
And your sister did not have your back.
she didn't have my back, but my sister would never. If somebody said to her, your sister's a real spaz or an idiot or something,
Yeah.
she'd stick up for me.
She'd be that girl across the street. She's just okay.
Yeah, she's all right. I'm not walking with her, but
Right.
I'm not going to beat her
Yeah.
up or nothing. I wouldn't co-sign you beating her up or anything like that. Yes. So anyway, that's what was going down is when they had a genius child, it was like, holy shit,
The
it's
epitome.
all going our way.
The epitome of
Like,
what they were striving for.
Like, you would hear about it. Like my sister, I think when she was like 1 year old, they were behind some truck that all it said on the back of the truck was milk. There was no bottles of milk showing or anything. And my sister went, milk, you know, and they were like, no, she
Yeah.
knows a word. Like, you know what? I mean, trust me, this is all. And me, like, I mean, from the second I could toddle, was always in trouble. Always in trouble. Always like
wild.
Yeah. And like my brother thought that side of me was really funny and kind of wild and fun. Like, I'll give an example. In the second grade, I had a teacher. She was kind of over me too because I was my problem, my behavior problems. But like, I was running around the room telling jokes and being silly. And she was like, you glue yourself to that chair, young lady. So I took a whole bunch of paste and stuck it on my butt. Sat in the chair,
my God.
and then I walked around with the chair sticking off my butt, going, "I glued myself to my chair." You know, like I was just like, "Oh,
my
you did what she
God.
said.
yes."
That's genius.
And
love
my
it.
teacher was like, "If you're going to act like a kindergartner, you're going to go sit with the kindergartners." And it was my brother's class. I had to go
no.
And then like they lined me and these other two, like it was all boys. I was always the only girl in trouble. Me and all the bad boys went lining on in there. And my brother was like, you know, like, what's going on? And they were like, these kids act like kindergartners, so they're going to come and sit with the kindergartners for the rest of the day. And then Miss Lamar, who was the sweetest woman, who was his kindergarten teacher, was like, could you please, guys, they wanted this to be a cautionary tale. Please come up and tell us what you did, you know? And then this one kid named James, who was like, I just was in love with him, and because he was such a bad boy. And he was like, you know, knocked over this and I did that. I lit this on fire and everything. And they were like, oh, you know, everybody was like, whoa. And then I was like, teacher told me to glue myself to my chair. So I glued the chair to my butt. And everybody was like, whoa. Of course.
She did not think that through.
No.
Yeah.
She also probably kickstarted your comedy career.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I just got the best laughs.
And
And
Tim-
that felt great.
My
Tim
brother was
probably
like,
was
yes.
like the hero of the class because he has the coolest sister.
Yeah, he was like, that's my sister. She's
Yeah.
great, you know?
God. So what else did your sister do that was
She won science award. She won math award. She was an amazing artist, like amazing. In fact, anytime there was any kind of contest for a poster for the school, you know, I think for the entire school district of Milwaukee, she had this like thing that was supposed to be about togetherness and, you know, integration and all this stuff, because that was on the docket in 1976 was,
Right.
you know, and I remember she
Bicentennial.
made, yes, and the bicentennial
Yeah.
where oh my God, we had to wear red, white, and blue clothes in our pictures that year. But yeah, like, so I remember I did something so dumb because I was a terrible artist. I'm still a terrible artist. Like I can't even draw like the most basic shit, right?
I can't either.
Yeah.
Like my mom and my brother could draw. My mom can draw.
Yeah.
I can't draw at all. I can copy something, but that's it. Yeah.
Like, yeah, when people like a cat, like a little cat head.
I can't do that. If you asked me to draw a bicycle, my head would explode. I don't know. I mean, I can't draw something if I don't look at it. I don't understand how things look.
I don't either.
I can't. I
And
can't do
when
it.
people draw things in perspective, my mind is completely
Oh my
blown by
God.
that.
I
Yeah.
know. I don't understand it at all.
And Carrie was good at like not just like paintings, but sculptures. Like she could do everything. Oh my God! Like by the time we were in high school, she was so good at throwing like would they send us to pottery class?
Come on.
She could throw pottery.
She could throw on a spinning wheel. They had to like get special items for her because she could spin porcelain. Like and she could she was so like
Jesus.
yeah. I mean, so I remember I stole from her elements of the sculpture she did in 6th grade about togetherness and integration. And I tried to like pawn them off in my art class and like fourth grade. Like,
Wait, you
look
mean
what-
you stole her actual picture?
Her
I mean,
ideas.
what happened was, the contest was over with, and it was just sitting around her room, and I would stare at all these little figurines that she'd made, and all these beautiful letters that she, of course, had made in a kiln. Like she'd made these little characters, and then she'd fired them up, and they were all shiny and beautiful. So like, there was something I was supposed to turn in for my art class at the end of fourth grade, and I couldn't get it done. So I stole all these little creatures from her display, and I was like, "Look what I made!" They were like, and the teacher immediately was like,
"Of course,
you didn't do this.
Did your sister make this, Jane?" And I was like, "Yes, she did."
Well, because it won a contest. Maybe do something a little more low key next time.
I know,
Yeah.
but every single year, what started to happen was starting in third grade, and this happened for years and years and years. Whenever a teacher would go, "Are you Carrie Wilson's little sister?"
No.
I would go, I would just set them straight right away. I would go, "Yes, I am, but this is not going to go the same way." Like, I would just say,
Buckle up.
"This is really, don't get your expectations
Yeah.
up, because it's going to really go
Talk to
south.
my second
and it's going
grade
to go
teacher.
south fast, right?"
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Did you go to school with your brothers?
Oh my God, yes. And I got called into the principal's office. It might have been because I was already in trouble for something. Like I got caught with cigarettes, I think, or something.
Yeah.
In ninth grade. And
Cool.
I got called. I was I was really cool.
She's had a life.
And I got called in the principal's office, and he asked me if I was planning on graduating from high school, and I was like, "Yeah." And he laughed and said, "Let me ask you a question. Did either of your brothers graduate from high school?" And I said, "Nope."
Oh, wow.
And he was like, "Well, what makes you think that you're going to graduate?"
Oh
then?"
my God.
And I was just like, yeah, like it was so awful.
Wow.
Like now as an adult thinking back that like
Wow.
he thought that was okay.
And also, it's like you were in their shadow in a different way. Like you were in their
like
footsteps.
every teacher knew who I was because of my last name and sort of was already primed to.
So your brothers were bad boys?
They're very bad boys. So they were already primed to like just not expect anything from me.
Oh my God.
So that was
awful.
it was, but I did graduate.
So
Guys,
there,
So here I
you're a
am.
high school graduate. I know you're.
I did it. I graduated high
Wow.
Wow. I'll tell you, when the tide really turned with my sister, it had never even crossed my mind to be an actor. Never. Like ever. I was 15 years old. I wasn't one of those people that was like, I'm going to put on a show with a bunch of costumes.
Yeah.
I was never that. Although, weirdly enough, because of SNL and others and Carol Burnett,
Yeah.
I like to do sketches, but just like not for show business, just to amuse
For
people.
fun, yeah.
Like I would bring sketches with me to every family reunion, and I was never permitted to perform them. Like it was like
Stop it,
I would bring
Jane.
scripts. I remember one time.
But you kept doing it even though you were never allowed to do it?
I love that.
Like-
make mimeographs of them or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or one time I hand wrote out like 4 different scripts.
Oh, my gosh.
And I thought I was going to get my cousins on board and all this stuff. One time, oh my God, I got in so much trouble because we went up to my grandma's in Minnesota, and I had made a sketch that had fake snow in it, and my entire suitcase was nothing but fake snow.
Oh my God.
I did not bring clothes with me. Like, and then I got I got so excited to do my sketch and it involved fake snow, and I was sitting there going, when do you want the sketch done? When do you want the sketch done? And I kept forgetting to go to the bathroom, and I wet my pants. And then I did not have a change of clothes because my suitcase had nothing but fake snow. I got in so much trouble.
That is an O. Henry story.
My mother-
Except you're both parties.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember my mother just, it was like she had discovered a monster was her child. Like she was just like, did you just wet your pants? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, would you just go in the bathroom and change? I'm like, I can't. She's like, what is in your suitcase? I'm like, fake snow.
I feel like Jane was born in the wrong time period because if that was happening now, the whole event would be scheduled around this child's play.
Yeah. So anyway, cut to 15 years old. My sister's auditioning for plays all the time, and she wants moral support. Come with me and just tell me that I'm good.
Yeah.
Because I get so nervous, I get so shaky when I go up there. Because the way that our high school drama guy did it was you'd pick the scene you wanted to do, you'd pick somebody to do it with you, and then you'd stand there and read it. And there was this play by Jules Feiffer called Crawling Arnold that was really super duper funny. and this is the senior directed 1X. My sister was a senior then, and I was a sophomore. And she really wanted to be in that one act. So she auditioned to play this daffy mom. And she, she did okay. It wasn't that great or anything. And then she goes, I'm going to go back and do another one of the one acts from somebody else after dinner. So we went and took the dinner break. And she had the script from Crawling Arnold with her.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, you didn't read that funny at all. Like, I was being really like, you didn't make that funny at all. And she goes, okay, smarty pants, how would you do it? And so I started reading the lines, and she goes, Jane, it really is funny. You should, when we go back, I'm going to sign you up, and you read from the mom from Crawling Arnold. I went down there and I started doing this crazy mom from this Jules Pfeiffer thing.
Yes.
And Hank had this thing where you knew you'd hit pay dirt when he would like laugh like a hyena. He was like, like that. Like, he was like, funny. Oh my God, funny. When I got done, and then like all these seniors were looking at me like, what the fuck? You're so quiet.
Sort of a Leroy from Fame sort of moment.
Absolutely.
Except that your sister was encouraging you and not
Which
mad.
is really sweet.
Yeah, it's really sweet, actually.
And then I got cast in it.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, and then I just had a blast doing that. And then I was like,
so I would say that the way you survived being in someone's shadow was just kind of to find your own thing.
Yeah.
And not try to do what your sister was doing, right?
That would have been a fool's errand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, because she was somebody who, she was a National Merit Scholar. She was straight A's. She was like, and it was kind of effortless for her. She tested really well.
Right.
And, and by the time I was in high school, because we're in the middle of a university town, I think out of my graduating class of like 400 and something kids, I think there was 32 National Merit Scholars. Wow. Which is kind of unheard of.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? It was really crazy.
So finding your own path.
Yeah, I did the opposite. Of course, I was trying to be an actor too when my brother was on a, primetime network sitcom.
Yeah.
And people would be like, come to school and be like, how's your brother? And my big retort was, fine, how's your brother? But Jane, thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you, Jane.
So fascinating.
That was really
it's
fun.
hysterical to see this other side, or to hear about this other side of you, because you're such an accomplished person that I admire. So it's funny that you were just like this little troublemaker. But
And a wonderful storyteller.
Oh,
Yes.
you guys are so nice. Thank you. And you know what? I loved hearing your stories too. And also, I was nervous on my ride over here because I feel really blessed and lucky. I want to just kind of close by saying this, that, there's a lot of people that get to be adults and they have very complicated relationships with their siblings.
Yeah.
And we really are in each other's corners now. Like, we really care about each other, and we're there for each other. And I was reflecting on that when I was driving along about how we would never abandon each other. And I feel, you know what I mean? I feel really
lovely.
And we are three very different personalities. So anyway, I just wanted to say
I love that.
That's great.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Next time we'll get our heads straight about what year it is. And,
Yeah,
and
we'll
what
have
instruments.
we'll have the bicentennial right. I'll know more about piccolos.
Yeah.
I'm going to really be
so much to know.
talking about piccolos a lot.
And thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it.
See you next time.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. We'd love to hear from you on the social media at Pod How to Survive on Twitter and Instagram. And also, you can send us an email, podcasthowtosurvive@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your survival stories or just say hello. All right. Talk to you later.